there, Normie Gardner. So, what is science? What is science? Science is we look at things that we can see and touch, and we study it. That's what science is, right? Okay, so, so we see an apple fall from a tree, see it happen every time, and then we say, oh, there must be something that's causing that apple to fall from the tree. Therefore, some scientist comes up with the law of gravity, etc. Okay? Now, the reason I'm talking about that is because when you ask someone online or someone in the world, what is science? They don't use those terms. A lot of times, what I've seen is that they use the word pattern. Science is the study of patterns. We see things happen, and we see a pattern, and we study that pattern. Okay? Stop. There's a problem here. And the problem is, if science is the study of patterns, that means science is a study of nothing. It is a study of nothing. Science is pointless. Science is like studying Star Wars lore. It means nothing. It's meaningless. And we can't depend on it. And we should just stop doing it. Now, let me unpack that, all right? What are patterns? What are they? Well, I'll tell you what they are. They're things that exist in here, in our mind. They don't exist out there in the world. Patterns are in here, okay? So what is the pattern? So you see a floor that is made up of tiles, square tiles. You see one tile that's black, one tile that's white, one tile that's black, one tile that's white. Oh, there's a pattern there. Black, white. And then there's an alternating pattern the next row up. White, black, white, black. And that makes a pattern we call a checkerboard pattern because it's based on a game. So we see a pattern, but the pattern doesn't exist on the tiles. The pattern's not made of quartz or made of ebony or made of whatever metal that tile is made of. The pattern is not a force of nature. The pattern is not an element. It doesn't have an atomic weight. You can't experiment on the pattern. The pattern is up here in our head. So when people say science is a study of patterns, what they're saying is science is a study of what's up here in our head, not what's out there. Up here, not out there. So science is a study of what's up in here. So things that exist only up here, what do we call those things? Do we call those things reality? Do we call them the physical world? No. I mean, know what else exists just up here? Lightsabers and hobbits and Middle Earth and Thor, and Captain America. Things that don't exist live up here, only in our heads, We see pictures of them, but they're really just, in reality, they live up here, right? Science is not the study of what lives up here. Science is obviously the study of what lives out here. So the question is, why do people insist on talking about science as a study of patterns? Why do you think that is? Well, there is this philosophy, this view of life called materialism. Materialism, also called naturalism. It's all wrapped up in atheism. It's all wrapped up in the irreligious part of the world. And one of the principle of materialism is that nothing exists but what is out here, what we can see and touch, material, matter. That's all that exists. Nothing exists out there. So, this is a very basic idea. And what I mean by basic, I don't mean it in a good way. It's a very limiting idea, because here's the thing. If nothing exists but what we can see and feel and touch, that means that no order exists. Let me explain. There's no principles. Let me explain. When you see an order in the universe, meaning the things that we can see and touch, there is always a principle that defines that order. If you see, there's the difference between order and chaos is that order is organized on a principle and chaos is not. So when you see a pattern, that is not the order. That's the evidence of that order that you're constructing in your brain. So let's put it this way. First, the man built the checkerboard. He was organizing principle. He put black, white, black, white, black, white, white, black. He is the principle. The checkerboard is the matter, the material that you're seeing, and the pattern you see is what's in your head. You are seeing evidence of his principle. The pattern did not make those checkerboards go in that order. The workman did, who made the checkerboard. He is the principle. He is the organizing principle. And without him, those tiles probably wouldn't even be there. Or if he chose not to have an order, they would be in random assortment of things. They would be chaotic. The point is, we're confusing the pattern with the workman, with the principle. Now, I'm not even going to argue that the principle is a divine being. I'm not going that route, at least not in here. The principle could be the crystalline structure of rock. That's why rock breaks down a certain way. That's why little cube salts breaks up in cubes, right? I mean, the principle could be wind blowing across a grass field and all the grass bends a certain way. That's the principle. Could be the erosion. It doesn't matter. The point is that there is a principle. There's always an organizing factor. And science, of course, in reality, is a study of those principles. That's why, we talk about like all these. That's what we study in science, folks. We study law. We call them laws. We study principles. We study this is the reason these things happen. These are the causes these things happen. We do not study patterns. We study principles. Now, if that's true, then why would everyone talk about patterns and not principles? Well, there's a simple reason. Materialism cannot admit the existence of principles. Cannot. It is not allowed. It is not allowed if you just think about what materialism is. Materialism, naturalism says there is nothing that exists but material. Now, material cannot organize itself by itself. It needs a principle to organize. You can't, if you think I'm wrong, give me a counterexample, okay? There has to be a principle. That's the difference between order and chaos. You can, like if you flip a coin a million times, you might see a pattern emerging, but it's just coincidence and it'll go away. You'd be 1, 2, 1, 2, then 1, 1, 1. It'll just go away. There is no organizing principle, therefore there's no order. This is the most basic stuff. If you dispute what I'm saying, just try to think of a counterexample in the comments. I mean, I don't think you'll find one. All right? So materialism denies a principle. It has to deny a principle because principles are not made of material. They order material. Just like the workman, in our little example, is not made of bricks and blocks and quartz and whatever the floor is made of. He is made of a rational mind that's organizing these things. I mean, like, you can't get away from that. Therefore, we can't say science is a study of principles, because that will open the floodgates to non-materialistic thoughts. So therefore, we must teach our kids, science is just a study of patterns. We're just studying patterns. If science is a study of patterns, science is useless, as I said before, because it's no different than psychology or studying Star Wars lore. It's just all in your head. But if science is a study of principles, which actually it is, then we make progress, because then we can predict things. Then we can say, oh, this principle will make this happen, and this principle will make this happen, and we can use mathematics, which also exists only up here, to predict what's going to happen. And that's, of course, what science actually does. So if you hear someone say, science is a study of patterns, just know that they are repeating propaganda. They are not thinking through what they're saying. Don't get mad at them. I mean, they've been taught badly. And if a teacher tells you that science is a study of patterns, ask yourself why. Because it's a stupid description, doesn't make any sense, and, well, I think we can figure out why. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel.